Okay, so multiplying fractions. So fractions, actually multiplying them are easier than adding the fractions because you don't have to have denominators that are the same. So we don't have to get common denominators, and we shouldn't be getting common denominators when we're multiplying. The one thing that you do have to remember is to not cross multiply. When we were solving proportions, we had a fraction equal to a fraction. And when we have the equal sign between fractions, we cross multiply to solve for our variable that's missing. But when we're multiplying fractions, all we do is multiply straight across. So here are 3 problems. And we're just going to take numerator times numerator. So 3 times 1 is 3. 5 times 2 is 10. And then we reduce that down if we can. So we get 3/10. This one, because it's a whole number, I'm going to put it over 1 just so that I can save the place of the denominator. But 2 times a negative 4. All of our positive and negative rules still apply. So I have a positive times a negative. My answer is going to be negative. 2 times 4 is 8. 3 times 1 is 3. I can leave it right like that, or I can write it as negative 2 and 2/3. Either way. The third example, I have negative 1 times a negative 3. 2 negatives being multiplied together are going to give me a positive. 1 times 3 is 3. 3 times 7 is 21. We can reduce that down. 3 goes into 3 once. 3 goes into 21 7 times. Questions so far? Okay. So, what about when you're multiplying mixed numbers together? So the book shows 2 ways of multiplying mixed numbers. But I think that you will find if you use the method of going and converting them to an improper fraction and then multiplying them, that will be easier for you. So you're more than likely you're going to be using your calculator to multiply these fractions. And I'm hoping everyone is getting used to multiplying on their calculators with fractions or adding fractions, using that fraction button. You should be getting used to it. 1/4 times, I'm going to convert this to an improper fraction. So 9 times 8 is 72. 72 plus 4 is 76. And I put that over 9. So I get 76 over 36. We know that they're both even numbers, so we can reduce it down. We can reduce that down to 18, divide 76 by 2, and we get 38. They're still even numbers, so we're going to divide by 2 again. 9, 38 divided by 2 is 19. So 19 over 9, or 2 1/9. 3 times 5 is 15. 15 plus 1 is 16 thirds times 3 over 1. 16. What happens with these 3's? Can we just cancel them out right away? You can cancel between numerator and denominator. And so if we do that first, we get the answer of 16. If we didn't do that, we would get 48 over 3, which would still reduce down to 16. And then converting these, even though they're negatives, the negative sign stays out in front. We still convert them the same way. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 plus 7 is 15, so it's a negative 15 eighths times a negative 5 times 2 is 10. 10 plus 2 is 12. Negative 12 fifths. So now we have two negatives that are being multiplied together. Two negatives multiplied together give our final answer to be positive. If we look at these numbers and we want to reduce down between numerators and denominators, we can. 5 goes into 5 once. 5 goes into 15 3 times. A 4 goes into 8 twice, and a 4 goes into 12 3 times. Now when I multiply, I get 3 times 3, which is 9. 2 times 1, which is 2. So 9 halves, or 4 1/2. Okay. So the weight in an object on Mars is about 2/5 its weight on Earth. How much would an 80 1/2 pound dog weigh on Mars? I'm going to take this 80 1/2. I'm going to times it by 2/5. So I'm going to convert this. This is going to be 161 over 2 times 2/5. The 2's will cancel. I'm left with 161 over 5. 5 goes into 161 3 times with 11 left over. 3 times with 11 left over. What am I talking about? 5 goes into 16 3 times. You bring down the 1. 5 goes into 11 twice with 1 left over. So 32 1/5. So you start out with an 80 1/2 pound dog, and on Mars he would weigh 32 1/5 pounds. And then our last story problem, I think. Maybe that was it. I guess that was it, guys. Any questions?